Bitcoin, value trap or future potential. Okay, so now, just because I'm in the stock market and I've been doing this for quite some time, a lot of people have been asking me about Bitcoin. Have you invested in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies? And my answer has always been very default. I don't know anything about it. I don't worry about Bitcoin. I don't think about it that much. Although Bitcoin is a financial instrument, it's a currency, we all know that. It is very different from stock market in my personal perspective. Although the way it works, it's very similar. It has got an open market. People buy and sell it. There's a price that depends on demand and supply. So all of these things are quite similar when it comes to Bitcoin. Yes, it does work very similar to a stock market when it comes to its trading. However, the underlying principles which govern the value are very, very different from a stock. Although, if you were to strip it down to the basics, yes, demand and supply is always going to be the king. And it also runs on an open market of demand and supply. People can bid and ask for different prices and they can buy and sell it across the world. Okay. However, I don't think currencies are stocks. Stocks are basically uh, ownership in small companies, not small companies. Stocks are basically ownership in companies, and currency is a medium of exchange for value. Okay, so let's get on with overall idea. These are again my personal views. So let's get on with my live stream content for today. And of course, if you guys have any questions, you can put it in the comments. I'll try to tackle them at the end. All right. So Bitcoin, value trap or future potential. First of all, please note that the recording of this particular session with my beautiful slides will be available on my WhatsApp group. All you have to do is just join the WhatsApp group and I'll be making the recording available in case you're not able to continue watching this online. And you can DM me, or there's a link in bio to join that WhatsApp group, or you can DM me as well on WhatsApp. Second, I am not a SEBI registered advisor and neither am I a cryptocurrency expert. So all information presented in today's presentation or live stream is going to be my personal view and my really personal view. So do not take this as a financial advice. Do your own research. Do not be lazy. It's your own money that you're putting in. Put your own research behind it as well, or at least consult somebody who is very well qualified in case you're going to get into anything specific when it comes to putting your money to use for investments. Okay. And finally, I may have invested in some of the examples discussed in this presentation. So there might be, whatever I discuss, there could be a possibility that my money is behind that particular investment that I'm discussing in this presentation. So please be fully aware of that as well. Okay. Having said that, let us start with the most important question. What is Bitcoin? This is according to my personal definition. It's a digital currency. It is not a physical coin or a bill like we have rupees and dollars. This is a complete 100% digital currency, which is based on a decentralized computer network. So it is not based out of some government issuing it or a couple of countries coming together like what is there for euro. This is one currency which is decentralized, is more or less something very similar to open source, is what I feel, where people are contributing and making it work, but overall there's no particular entity that handles this particular coin, and no central bank or government control is there behind this currency. This is completely people's currency, and it is in very limited supply, only around 21 million over the world. And the idea is that people are supposed to be free to use the money amongst themselves across the world. Okay, and this uses something very interesting that is known as the blockchain technology for extremely secure transactions. Okay, so blockchain again is, I think, something what internet was a couple of decades ago. Blockchain technology is going to be extremely useful, and I will always stand behind blockchain as a technology. But as an investor, I've always believed in that people who invent the technology don't make as much money as people who use that technology. Okay, if you look at internet, people who invented the internet, maybe you know them, maybe you don't know them, but people who use the internet to sell their products became much more richer. People who use the internet to create entertainment became way more richer. So I think blockchain for me is what internet was a couple of decades ago. That is, it is a fantastic technology, and it will become very much like internet or electricity, and we will be using it in our day to day life. So there is no doubt about the future of blockchain technology as far as my future understanding or my understanding of this technology is concerned. Okay, now let's look at the basic definition of a currency. Okay, what are the things which a currency is required to do? There are three major properties that I feel a currency needs to fulfill to be called as a currency, right? So, first of all, usability, widely accepted as a medium of exchange for goods and services. Currency is the lowest way you can exchange value. You want to buy something, you want some goods or service. The minimum or the most easy way to transact or give somebody that value is through your currency. In India, it's rupees. All over the world, it's different currencies for their respective countries. So, let's say if I want to go and buy some food outside, or maybe let's say I want to go and buy a cup of chai. To fulfill that chai service, I will give the person who provides me that chai a few rupees from my pocket. Okay, that is what the property of currency is. It has to be used for as an exchange of mediums across different goods and services. Okay, second, it needs to store wealth. Okay, that means it maintains its value over time, allowing people to save and invest. That means if you put a few dollars or few rupees under your mattress, they should not devaluate very quickly. They should have some kind of value in the future as well. If you put it in banks, let's say, you also earn interest on it, so that way banks help you hold more value, and overall it should hold value over time. That is the other way of using currency. Currency is a store of wealth. To understand how much you can not only spend right now, can you can spend it tomorrow as well. By the way, stocks, fixed deposits, bonds, they are also stores of wealth, what we call as assets, including real estate, gold, and so on and so forth. Okay, so currency itself can also be an asset by storing wealth. So that how much you can, wealth basically defines how much you can spend in future. And finally, global acceptance, recognized and used for international trades and transaction. Okay, so today if I were to transact in rupee across the world, I can still do that because it is recognized as a currency across every country. Yes, we will have to go through a lot of systems and exchange rates, but I can purchase something from across the world using rupee. It gets converted to dollar, that's a different issue, but it does get converted and it does get my job done of being recognized all across the globe. That is one of the biggest reasons why there is something, there's a concept called as the global currency, which of course currently dollar holds the biggest, I would say, marker for that. Okay, now why is there all the craziness about Bitcoin specifically? Okay, what is so special about Bitcoin? And yes, it is using great technology, and there is there is a lot of argument to be made of using blockchain technology as well, and people's currency. We should not have banks in the in between people taking all the cuts, and they make it even more difficult for international transactions. But the main reason why Bitcoin has got all the craziness going on is because if you look at its price right now, there's a chart in front of me. Back in 2010, it was barely a 10-cent value. Okay, 10 cents is nothing. And on this chart, if you see, there's a flat line over it. And that was around 2010. And right around 2023, 2022, 21, right after lockdown, that value, 2021, in fact, if you look at it, it went around to $61,000. You guys do the maths. How much of an appreciation did this asset get? It is absolute madness how much it has grown up from 10 cents, which is 0.10, to $61,000. It is just, and I've seen people, I know a couple of people who have become overnight millionaires owning Bitcoin. Okay, and that is where the biggest craziness for this particular investment comes in, because people have made money in it, and it has shot up in value like nobody's business. Okay, that's why all the craziness. And because of that, there are many other currencies have also come in thanks to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first. Then there are many currencies coming in. Then there are many exchanges have come in. But all the craziness is because people are making money. There's Whether people are making money or not, I really cannot prove, but yes, the value of this asset has exploded through the roof. Okay, and it's a multi bagger, and within a short span of maybe 10-15 years, not more than that. Okay, so that is why there is craziness behind Bitcoin. Okay, and the main reason, or the reason why there is huge demand and supply, of course the price growing is biggest reason, because if things are going up, that is itself a big trigger for things to go up. That is itself a big trigger for people, things to increase in demand. Okay, there's a nice quote by Mr. Jack Dorsey, who's the former Twitter CEO. Bitcoin will replace US dollar, and that is the big idea that has been proposed. And well, there is logic behind it as well, that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency will replace dollar as a global currency, or it will replace most of the currencies of the world. That is what the idea behind it, because people don't want the control of central banks and government to hold them from their own wealth, because there are a lot of transaction charges, and there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of exploitation in general if you look at it. And I agree, I've made transactions internationally, and there is currency exchange charges, there's bank charges, there's remittance charges, there's so many charges over there that you end up paying way more than what the actual value of goods or services was exchanged. Okay, now, second argument is that blockchain is the future. That also adds to the whole idea that this is the technology that is going to be prevalent as the internet, and Bitcoin is going to replace the dollar. These are the two biggest arguments I have heard and seen. And there's another way which they put, is that this is the millennial gold. Okay, millennial gold in the sense, uh, gold is the alternate currency of the world, again recognized all over the gold, that precious metal that we Indians definitely love. Bitcoin is the digital version of gold, where it will it will become a global currency, and something that people can fall back to when the world is not in order. As you see, when war takes place, usually gold prices, or uncertainty is there, gold prices go up, because then people fall back to the default currency, because there's chances of government falling, there's chances of economies crashing. So in that case, what happens is, gold, some asset which is again globally recognized, and there is demand and supply or equal acceptance all over the world, that comes. And Bitcoin is also going to be the millennial gold. That is a third argument that I've seen, and again it makes a lot of sense, and I'm not going to deny these are possibilities in the future. Okay, however, I feel personally Bitcoin is not a global currency yet. That is my honest and truest view on Bitcoin, because, first of all, it has got very high volatility. It is in limited supply. There's huge demand and supply problems on the, not problems, but there's always demand and supply happening on the exchanges, and there is no specific entity that is controlling it. People are buying and selling it on their own ideas. So the worst rate for a global currency is high volatility. When you want a currency to be globally accepted, you want its value to be a little more stable. If you look at dollar's graph, it does go up and down with respect to Indian currency, but that's the INR. INR is the one that is going up and down. Dollar doesn't shockingly go up and down. It has got its volatility. Of course, every currency has got some volatility, but it is nothing compared to what Bitcoin goes through. Okay, so it is one of the least fluctuating currencies. That's why dollar also holds its value as a global currency, because let's say I made a transaction today, and if the value of that currency is going to go up and down within a few seconds, okay, and it's going to make a huge difference in my international trades, where I'm going to, let's say, expect coffee orders in 3 months. Okay, if the currency is not stable, then not only am I paying extra for the price of coffee, or the coffee that I'm getting from, let's say, Brazil to India, within 3 months, if the price of that currency goes up and down, I end up paying more in currency charges, or maybe I end up paying less, but then there is a loss for the person who sent the coffee. All right, so we need volatility to be really, really low. We need a stable currency to be backed, for it to be a global currency, to be accepted all across the globe for global trade. Is as simple as that. Okay, so because of this high volatility trade, a lot of people are making money in it, but because of this high volatility, it is again not considered as a global currency, because for international transaction it doesn't make sense to have something so volatile. Second, there is no regulation. Okay, to there is no regulation in it, and again that adds to the volatility of it. Who has the Bitcoin, who doesn't have, it's all in secrecy, and that's great. But there is no regulation on anybody that you can walk up to and say, okay, are you regulating the entire Bitcoin market or not? Are you regulating the entire supply and demand of Bitcoin? So in case there is a problem, okay, there is no problem as such, because yes, the technology is quite sound from what I can check. Okay, there is no way to point at somebody because it's decentralized. Okay, so there is no I would say authority to hold it back, or somebody who can back it up by their own promise, or own power. And finally, there is no global acceptance. Okay, because of the first two reasons, third is there. So you can't go and buy a cup of coffee yet, especially in India, you can't. And most countries you can. Yes, there are countries which have started taking. There is Elon Musk who has started some coin, which I'm not very clear on the study, but I've heard places, and there are few places where things have started, and it's good. Okay, but there are different currencies, not just Bitcoin. There are different currencies which have been accepted at different places. uh, However, you can't still buy a cup of coffee or pay rent with Bitcoin. So the global acceptance, or even buy an international ticket, let's say you want to travel, okay, globally it's not accepted. It's not accepted within the country. So that is the biggest reason why it is not a global currency. So that actually is stopping the very nature of this currency, stopping it from becoming what it is supposed to become. I don't know if it makes sense. People want it. People are buying it because it is going to become a global currency, and it is going to become a global currency which is controlled by people, so that there is no government. But because there are only people buying and selling it, the volatility is very high, and there is no government, so there is no regulation on it. And that's why most governments are not accepting it. So it defeats the purpose of being a global currency because of its own nature. Okay, and I'm sure maybe this will not be the case in future, right? Again, I have not seen the future. You've not seen the future. Future is a lie, as always. So the ones, if it happens, yes, it may happen. I'm not going to deny that it will never happen, but as of today, it is not a global currency. It is still a speculative instrument, and I'll get to that later. And second most important point, Bitcoin is not an investment, and that's why I feel it's a value trap. This is only based on supply and demand. This has no fundamentals. Okay, when a currency has got its value, usually it is backed by the economy of the country and its value across the world. Across the world, the demand supply based on the country's economy and exchange rates. If the country's economy is doing strong, and they have good relations and they have good standing across the world, the currency usually stabilizes. If the country has got good governance and overall economic power, then the currency holds its power. So the fundamentals of a currency or anything is the underlying driver for growth or demand and supply. Here in Bitcoin, the only promise that is there, this is just like gold, by the way. Gold does not have fundamentally any value. Gold is completely used just on buy and sell basis, or only on demand and supply. So Bitcoin also is only based on demand and supply. So it is an amazing tool for speculation, because by golly, it has made huge sums of money for people, and I hope people make money from it. However, it will always be a speculation, because the underlying principle is pure demand and supply. And I have heard of these stories where one tweet from one person can actually move certain prices of certain coins. It's not Bitcoin, but again, I've seen that happen. I've heard it from friends who are regularly trading into Bitcoin. So because of this nature, no fundamentals, which we can clearly say, okay, this is the reason why Bitcoin will go. Okay, and not to mention, there is heavy competition within its own not say within this own technology, or the concept of cryptocurrency. There are many currencies coming in. There are many exchanges coming in. Okay, so that is a separate topic altogether. I don't want to get into that, but right now, as of today, for me to understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin is practically impossible, and to go into a research whether it makes sense or not is going to be extremely speculative. So do people make money in it? Yes. Can you make money in it? I'm sure you can. You can make money, you can lose money as well. Not to mention the fact that it did go up to 61,000. It did fall down as well. If you go look at the chart, it has fallen down as well because of the volatile nature of this particular instrument. Okay, so this is very similar to bank nifty and penny stocks. Okay, and apart from that, there are three big risks which I feel are not worth my investment into Bitcoin on a with a serious kind of money. There is exchange risk. Okay, a lot of exchanges provide, I would say, broker risk as well, because if you remember, a lot of brokers were also banned in India. From, I think I had a ZapePay account. I'm not saying I did not completely venture into Bitcoin. I did have a ZapePay account, which I did buy some Bitcoin from. I don't. This was years ago, but again, that company got shut down. I could not access my funds. Something happened, and I ignored it completely. But I've heard of a lot of exchanges going into bank run. We've seen a lot of scams recently that have happened. They were not exactly, all of them were not scams, but most of the time there's always this hanging risk that the exchange that you're using, is it a legitimate source for you to buy and sell your coins from. Second, regulatory risk. What if your own country bans that particular financial instrument? Okay, it will take only a day for the government to ban Bitcoin, and if that happens, there is no way you're touching that money. And if you do, you have to use so many convoluted ways of getting it out. It is going to be practically impossible and not worth the, I would say, the juice will not be worth the squeeze, according to me. And finally, the volatility itself. Okay, when I'm looking at an investment, I'm looking at consistent growth. I'm not looking for explosion. Okay, usually investments have got slow growing potential, and then most of the time they are not moving, and then they suddenly show their multi-bagger returns. They compound at a slower rate. They don't go up and down that fast. Something like bank nifty and penny stocks do it all the time. Even small cap, I would say SME stocks in BSC and NSC, the small and medium sized enterprise IPOs, those are the ones, those are highly volatile. And that volatility is something which I personally do not like in an instrument. Uh, Say, because let's say you make 100x returns, but if you can't withdraw the funds from that particular instrument or that particular asset, what is the point of all that money? That is all paper gains, right? So that risk is something which I would want to avoid, and that's why putting serious sums of money is not something I would ever do in Bitcoin. So it is a value trap currently because of its flaws, fundamental flaws, according to my personal views. Your views might be different, and I respect that. Unfortunately, I will not be switching from equity to Bitcoin anytime soon. Now, I will do it. I will get into cryptocurrency, or maybe seriously consider getting into this particular asset class when it becomes a currency backed by at least one or two major economies, and then it becomes a viable tool of wealth storage or exchange. Then I can treat it as a millennial gold, most likely. So that can become part of my portfolio. It's potential. Or if I can buy chai, okay, if my chai wala starts accepting Bitcoin, I will definitely take it as a serious currency. Till that time, I am not going to consider it as a serious currency. I've never been into forex trading myself. I mean, I have, but I'm not been a serious forex trader. I did it for a small amount of time, but again, it was a speculative venture. From in retrospect, it was 100% speculative venture. So similarly, Bitcoin will be a speculative venture, not an investment. Okay, investment is where you park your funds today, you let it ride, and it grows up, and you are very clear of why you have placed that bet, and probability is on your side by doing the research. That is my definition of an investment, where you park your funds, understand what kind of risk is there, what kind of potential returns are there, what are going to be the drivers for that particular growth. Okay, so when I'm buying a company, it's very clear to me why am I buying it. If I buy Bitcoin today, I'm only going to buy it because its price went up. So that is, in my definition, pure speculation. Okay, till then, I do not want to sleep over. Till the time it is not becoming a regular global currency, I'm not going to lose sleep over Bitcoin. Because if I just start looking at, okay, this currency went up these many x times, there are many such stories in stock market as well to cry about. Okay, Tata Elxsi is a very good example. There are hundreds and hundreds of stories out there where the stocks have gone from penny stocks to multi bagger stocks. Okay, and within shortest time period, not even 10, 15 years, there's always going to be story. And there's a human psyche which always feels FOMO about certain things, and we feel really really bad, and it looks like a missed opportunity. But unfortunately, future is, sorry, investing is future looking, it is not backward looking. Because in hindsight, everything is 2020 today. Because bitcoin has gone up in this value, it is great. It is great that people who have made money in it, they can enjoy it. People who have lost money should not worry about it, because 20 years ago or 15 years ago, you did not know it. Even when I knew it, I could not have fathomed it. As simple as that. Same thing goes for stocks as well. A lot of, I can give example of Titan as well, right? Titan was such a small company at certain time. Buying it at that time, you could have potentially seen certain reasons to buy it. Rakesh Jindulwala did it, and he made a lot of wealth out of it. Okay, so it is always future looking investment. Okay, and looking at different stories, what I've started doing is I've stopped worrying about the missed opportunities. I always look for future opportunities. What can I currently do? What can I do today? Today is the zero day, number zero. What can I buy today which can give me future potential in 5, 10, 15 years? That is my outlook. So as I said before, just because it's gone up in value, there is no reason for me to get in. I would I will invest in what I know. What I know will grow for sure, and I've been doing that for last almost 15 years now. I'll continue to do for next 15 years. And get rich slow is my mantra, because usually that gives me better sleep. For me, taking that level of risk and being worried about the volatility aspect of it, or whether I'm going to get rich overnight or not, is not something I want to lose sleep over. I'm at a very comfortable position personally, and I'm going to bet on Indian economy, which I know very clearly. I have seen it grow, and I see a continuous future for the next 10, 15 years. Okay, so most of the stocks that I want to purchase, I've already purchased. Now I just want to see them grow. Even if 2 to 3 out of them grow nicely, I will have a very abundant returns on my portfolio. So, and that will make me really really happy. But cryptocurrency will come into picture right after, when couple of those criterias are met. Okay, and of course, I always say this: if you're making money, make money, because money is money ultimately, right? If you can make money in crypto, you should not hold it back because I'm saying it. It should be your own view. I personally don't want to do it. I may take a small exposure because it's a high risk asset, and I sometimes do play penny stocks, sometimes I play bank nifty. Okay, but that there's a very small amount of money that I risk in it, which barely scratches my well, barely makes a dent in my overall financial planning. Okay, I have allocated some speculative amount. It's a very small amount that I use. If I use that, maybe I will use that for cryptocurrency sometimes. If I feel there is some value that I can get out of it. Okay, but I will not be putting serious sums of money, because again, for that serious sums of money, I need serious amount of fundamental view or fundamental value that I can see in it. Okay, and business is something which I can easily understand, right? Businesses provide a simple value, and businesses have got a product or a service that I can easily understand and back it up. Okay, and when businesses grow, I have run small businesses myself, so I understand the unlimited potential of a business which scales up. Okay, I may not have had successful businesses, but I've interacted and studied enough businesses to understand with I would say a high level of probability. I'm not going to say 100%, high level of probability that the business is going to grow. I cannot say that for cryptocurrency. I can say that about blockchain, in fact, because I know the technology is solid, and blockchain will become as prevalent as the internet. There is no doubt about it, that whatever my understanding of the technologies, it is extremely useful. And cryptocurrency is just one of the use cases of that technology. Okay, it's like when the internet was there, yes, you could have one type of websites which showed pictures. Okay, but there are other use cases of internet as well, where you use it as an e-commerce store, where you use it as a search engine, where you use it as an online education academy, where you use it as a social media tool. So all of that is going to come in with blockchain. So I'm not going to deny that the value of blockchain itself, but bitcoin specifically or cryptocurrency specifically is something which I would want to stay away from. Okay, so that is my overall view on the currency or cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Hopefully, whenever somebody comes and asks me about cryptocurrencies, I'm going to send them this particular video so that they get it very clearly. But the long and short of it is, still think it's very speculative and something out of my circle of competence. So I will not be investing in it seriously, and I cannot recommend it to somebody seriously. Next week, I'm going to be hosting the Zoom call on small cap investment and strategies to invest in small cap. That will be up on my Instagram soon. Until then, bye bye. Happy trading, happy investing. I will see you guys in my next live stream very soon.